Hey everyone, welcome back to Thrive with Sahel. I'm Sahel, your host, and today we have Imogen with us for the second time. Last time we had some technical problems, so we did the whole podcast. It went very well, it was very fun. And then I went to check the recordings and I couldn't hear Imogen's voice at all. And I called her quickly saying, "Oh, something has gone bad." But so thank you, Imogen, for coming again. And guys, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. I always say that in the end, but I've started to saying it in the start because please do it. The more it will help us to grow. The algorithm, the YouTube algorithm works in a way that if you like it, then it pushes it up with the other videos, so more people can see it. And if you subscribe, then you'll be seeing me and the guest every Sunday. So please do that. And also leave a comment. It can be anything. You want to say something nice, you want to say something about the guest, you want to give me feedback on how I can better the podcast. So can be any technical details or any details about the content as well. Just go ahead. Uh, don't worry, I'm not gonna get offended by anything. But yeah, please comment. And yeah, before Imogen, we get to you. I do the story of the news of the week, which I have now turned to story of the week just because we realize that it's not wise to give you news which is not of the week because the podcast is released few weeks later sometimes. So I am giving you the updated news of that week, but just because when the podcast, I wouldn't know when it's released, so it doesn't. It's the news is not very recent then. So instead, I'm calling it stories of the week, and the first story of the week we have is there's also a women's World Cup going on right now. We already know the men's football World Cup, but women's cricket World Cup, the T20 is going on right now. And as usual, Australia is the favorites, and they are leading also in the table with India in the second spot. Uh, so basically, the story here is how women's cricket has grown over decades now, and slowly it is gaining more popularity, more viewers, and also considering that there's a men's World Cup going on, the football World Cup, there are still more people watching women's World Cup. So I think that's a pretty great news. And we have Darcy Carter, who is leading the run scoring board right now with 174 runs. She's from Scotland. Then we have Spriti Mandana from India. She has 159 runs. And then we have Chamari Attapattu from Sri Lanka, who is on the third spot.
So actually, this is your possibility to watch some women's sports. So maybe just do
Uh,
this.
yeah, maybe just in case, like you're bored with the football World Cup, just head over to watch the Women's World Cup. It's happening in England, so great weather, and the tournament is doing really, really good. Like it's way better than what it used to be in terms of there used to be only few people who would carry the whole sport and the teams, but now more people who are giving better performances. So the whole team right now carries the whole campaign, the whole marketing, and basically they're carrying the whole sport as a whole. And secondly, uh, we have 3-on-3 basketball that has made to the Olympics. And it's a very funny story because it started in the US. And this type of sport started right in front of basketball, NBA, which is so popular in the US. But people made fun of this type of basketball, which is 3-on-3. So it's played in the half court, no substitution. So it's the same three players. It's a 10-minute game. The first team to reach 21 points, they win. And also in basketball, you have 24 seconds to score a basket. Here you have only 12. So it's very fast paced. And they had a really good marketing strategy to make this game come to Olympics is that they went to a lot of festivals and a lot of concerts. So they appeal to the more the Gen Z, let's just say, so younger population. And Yeah, because of all those efforts now, I don't know what it's called yet. I don't know if there's a name for it, but yeah, it says 3-on-3 basketball. And thirdly, we have, okay, this is not a sports news, but this is more like a uh, in general news about the weather in Europe. It's really, really hot right now. And if you're playing any sport, if you're into any physical activity, I know it's such a nice weather to do it, but please take care of yourself, drink enough water, have plenty of fluids. And we have also seen that a lot of sporting events that are happening in Europe are also struggling with it. So a lot of athletes are struggling with the heat. A few weeks ago in Roland Garros, Yannick Sinner had to retire because of the heat. Also, in the men's football World Cup, you must have seen the hydration breaks, which was which was firstly more to advertise more brands and companies, but now I think it's necessary because just how hot it is right now. So
Especially if you do outdoor sports, you have to
yeah,
pay attention.
yeah, but even in indoors, uh, like let's just say that not all the infrastructure have good ventilation and stuff. So even if you think that you're in indoors, like, you're losing a lot of sweat and like you know getting dehydrated. So guys, wherever you are, drink water. All right, Imogen. Yeah, thank you for coming again. I'm gonna let
Thank you for
you.
having me again.
Yes. I hope everything works well this time. Actually, I'm seeing all the I see a lot of things which tells me if it's working technically good or no, and everything right now is working perfectly. So yes, so you can introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are, what do you do.
Yes, thank you for the invitation again. I really like the idea of the podcast. Um, I'm Imogen, as Ahil already said. Um, I'm from Berlin in Germany, but I'm currently living in Leipzig, which is in the east of Germany. And I'm here because I'm a former competitive sport climber, and I think we're going to talk about what this means in the following. Um, but yes, I mainly did lead climbing, but later got into bouldering as well. Bouldering's pretty popular now, so you probably know what I'm talking about. And I think we're going to talk about my time in rock climbing and sports climbing today, which was the most amazing time in my life. And I think for me personally, it's the most beautiful sport one can do. Um, so yeah, I would like to take you a little into this today.
Yes, yes, very excited. I mean, it's my second time, so I've heard it, but still, I'm very excited to hear it again. Yeah. So when did you start? When was your first time that you actually went on to a class? Did you go to a climbing class?
When I started climbing, I was 12 years old. I think that's a pretty common age for starting professional sports climbing. Maybe if we talk about sports climbing, I should explain the difference of different
Yeah,
climbing styles
yeah.
first, because I feel like every time I'm talking to people about competitive sports climbing, they actually don't know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Um, because I don't know what you think, but I think lots of people when they think of competitive sports climbing, they actually think of somebody who tries to like get up the wall as fast as possible. But this is actually only one discipline. So this is called speed climbing, and this is
Hmm.
not what we actually do every day, or most people do not do if they do competitive sports climbing. So maybe for clarification, there is this broader term called sports climbing, and sports climbing consists of three different disciplines. Um, and the first one is speed climbing. This is
Hmm.
to get as high as possible, as fast as possible, but you already know the route you're gonna climb in advance.
Hmm.
And this is very different from lead climbing, and this is mainly what I did. Lead climbing you can do outdoors, then it's called rock climbing, or indoors. And in lead climbing, you try to advance as high as possible
Mhm.
at competitions on a 15-meter high wall. And they gonna look at how high you you advance. So like
Mhm.
for example, in my very first competition, I fell down after like 5 meters maybe. But I actually won the competition because everyone else
Mhm.
fell earlier. So all
Mhm.
the others fell after like 3 or 4 meters.
Mhm.
So this is the idea of lead climbing, and this is the second discipline. And the third discipline then is bouldering. And in bouldering, you don't have a rope. It's only
Mhm.
about power, not about power endurance.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and you just fall down and nothing happens
Yeah.
usually.
And is bouldering a sport yet? Like, is it competitive? No, right? Is it
Yes, it is.
competitive?
It
Okay.
is. Yes. When sport climbing was in the Olympic Games for the first time, I think that was 2020, so 6 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. Um, there were three disciplines, so bouldering, speed climbing, and lead
Mm-hmm.
climbing. So
Mm-hmm.
usually, if you do lead climbing as I did, you also have to do bouldering. Um, yes, and you're probably gonna fall in love with bouldering as well,
Mm-hmm.
as lead climbing is already so much fun.
Yeah. So you were 12-year old when you started, and how long did it take you to realize, oh, this is something that I want to do, and you really like fell in love with it?
1 second.
One second.
actually actually it was very fast. It was interesting because if I remember it correctly, I was searching for a new type of sport, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. But
Mhm.
I knew that I wanted to do something on a very high level, and I wanted
Mhm.
to do competitions,
Mhm.
no matter what.
Mhm.
um, and then I tried sport climbing in a like Berlin lead climbing
Mhm.
group. And after 2 or 3 months, I already climbed my first competition just to try it out once. Um, and I actually won the competition.
Mhm.
And the head coach of the, let's say, lead competition sport climbing team, he saw me climbing the competition, and afterwards he reached out to me and he was like, Imogen, do you want to be in the competition
Mhm.
group? And yes, then in the following years, I trained with them. We went to a lot of competitions. I started climbing outdoors with them.
Mhm.
Yes, and was just training all day. And I got really, really deep into it.
Mhm.
Um, yes, and then when I was 16, I decided to become a coach. That was pretty early, actually.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you're the youngest coach, I think, in at least that discipline. But I were
There
you?
are some. There are some.
Okay.
But I wanted to give something back to the people that had trained me in the very beginning when I had
Mhm.
started sports climbing. And actually, I also when I got my like sport climbing coach license, then I started coaching the climbing group I had trained with in the very beginning.
Mhm.
So that was actually quite cute to be able to give something back
Mhm.
um, to the children who start climbing.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and then I continued my climbing journey, but like 1.5 years later, I would say, when I was 17, almost 18, I had a car accident that was pretty heavy. And this car accident actually forced me to stop my own professional training, and I started rehab. I was sitting in a wheelchair actually for some months, and it took a while.
Mhm.
Um, and in this time, I realized that I was not able to climb anymore, and there was
Mhm.
nobody giving me the possibility to climb because just nobody knew how to climb if you're sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Um, And while making this experience, I realized that there's a huge gap and a huge need for people to know how to climb with people with disabilities.
Hmm.
And after my whole rehab process, when I was able to come back to climbing and to like really climb again, I
Hmm.
started to do further training in order to learn how to climb with people with disabilities.
Hmm.
Um, for example, to learn how to climb with somebody who's sitting in a wheelchair, or how to climb with somebody who's blind. Um, yes, and I think that was the best outcome I could get of this whole story.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wait, did you? So at the age of 16, you did your coaching license, but not for
yes,
disabled people, right? Like
just in
just for
general.
the general population. And afterwards, you did again the coaching for them, like in a
No, it
like.
was like a further training. So the first license um, was for coaching competitive sport climbing,
Hmm.
especially in youth groups.
Hmm.
And then after this experience with my own car accident, um, I then did some add-on further training in order to learn how to climb with people with
Hmm.
disabilities.
Hmm. What were the
Yeah.
main differences that you think were during these, like the add-ons that you did versus the normal licensing that you did?
That's a good question. I think actually the difference is not that huge. It really depends on the type of disability.
Hmm.
Um, because, for example, if you want to climb with somebody who's sitting in a wheelchair, you need like special equipment, special gear
Yeah.
to climb with this person. But for example, with somebody who's blind, there's actually not that much difference, like how to
Yeah.
secure the body of somebody.
Yeah.
But I think I've learned that if you are coaching a group or an individual, it's always about the relationship between you and the other person, and
Hmm.
you really need trust, and you need to
Yeah.
work on a relationship level.
Yeah.
Um, yes, and then in the end, you can climb with whoever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
In general, I think it's really important for any athlete and coach to have a good relationship, because you have trust. If you build enough trust, if you can go and ask the coach whatever doubts you have or whatever struggles or problems you have. If the relationship is strong, I think it just converts into this really nice outcome of you not just doing the sport well, but also you enjoying it. So uh, yeah, that's a very very good point. And I think
exactly,
especially with with people with disability, I think it's even more important because they might.
exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think this is one point. I think this is especially important in climbing actually, because in climbing somehow you're gonna deal with anxiety,
Mhm.
because it's a dangerous sport, and you
Yeah.
really have the need to have this trust in your coach, uh, to say, hey coach, I'm so afraid of falling, or I'm
Hmm.
so afraid of, I don't know, falling down somewhere
Yeah.
outdoors and then I'm gonna die or whatever. You don't know what's in the head. And I think it is so important as a coach that you are there in these situations,
Yeah.
and that the people you are coaching always know that they can come and talk to you.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Is there something called like the trust fall in rock climbing? Like, do you trust your
That
coach and then you fall down and he tries to catch you or
it would be funny, but I think actually it's very important to like trust your partner in sports climbing, because there's always one person who's doing that with you.
Wait,
Um,
oh, okay. So you have, is it two people who are partners
yes,
or multiple?
it's two people. So usually it's standing. One people is standing at the bottom, and one person is climbing. Um,
Ah, okay, okay.
so the relationship between these two is very important, and the trust between
Yeah,
you and your partner. You
yeah,
also practice falling together, for example. At least if you do competitive climbing, you should practice falling.
yeah.
Uh, just to get rid of this anxiety
Yeah.
um, to fall.
Yeah.
And this is something you can actually learn. That's my opinion.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
But yeah,
And
that's
actually, after this whole experience and all this further training as a coach, I also restarted rock climbing for myself. I did
mm,
competitions again. I did coaching
mm,
for people with disabilities, but also I founded a youth competition bouldering group
mm-hmm,
in Berlin,
mm-hmm.
and I trained them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
What different perspectives did you take from you before the car accident and then after the car accident? Because I think after the car accident, you
Mm.
also had like, because you realized the disability uh, is something that like people struggle with, and if they want to climb,
Mhm.
how can they do it? So I think you had
Mhm.
a really good shift of perspective from your
Mhm.
experiences. So how was that transition like for you?
I think I really realized how important climbing was to me
Mm,
because when I was sitting in the wheelchair and when I was not able to climb anymore, I was somehow I was sure that I would be able to climb again.
mm,
And I really need this feeling of climbing. Um, yes, and I think I just learned somehow perseverance,
mm,
but also a lot about empathy in the end, because I
mm,
realized, okay, other people have this. I'm just injured, but other people have these problems every day. Um,
mm, yeah,
yeah, so I try to make something out of it, and
mm,
at least help other people, so they won't experience the same situation as I did, that nobody would just climb with them anymore because nobody knows how.
yeah. Uh, I think next week we have a guest on who is a rugby player, a wheelchair rugby player.
Mhm.
And yeah, guys, please listen to that podcast. It's gonna be really great. He tells his experience because he was by birth he couldn't do anything. He was on
Mhm.
the wheelchair, I think. Yeah, like as soon as like they realized that okay, he has some kind of problems, and
Mhm.
from there on, he kept on playing different sports. Like he was playing everything possible. And also he's from the Netherlands, so and they have really good support system for people with disability. So yeah, when he shares his experiences, I can understand what you're trying to say, Imogen. It's because when you go through so much problems by yourself, and then you have this one sport or one hobby that you're doing, and then you come in as a support system. I think it's really uh, it brings the whole picture in about what sport in the end is exactly.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's about performance, it's about having a career, but also it's about this community, it's about the relationships.
Yeah. And somehow these experiences also make you stronger. It sounds so stupid,
Mm,
but I think sometimes I never wanted this car accident, really not, but I think sometimes these obstacles show you how to like
yeah,
stand up again and do your thing.
yeah,
Um, and trust in yourself. And I think this is really important, especially in competitive sports,
yeah,
but just in general, actually.
yeah. I always say I've learned the most important lessons of my life while playing sports. Like I've never learned it in my class. Uh, I never learned it from any movies or any motivational quotes off of Instagram. None of them were even close enough of that journey of as an athlete. And
Yes.
yeah.
Talking about this, I think what I really learned from climbing was like realistic self-assessment.
Mm,
Um, and I realized that every day because in climbing, especially rock climbing outdoors, if you overestimate your abilities,
mhm,
that is very dangerous or can can be very dangerous.
yeah,
Um, so I think climbing really shows you that you have to know your limits, but you also have to know your abilities.
mm.
And I think this is a very important skill, and I think I've learned that from climbing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to talk more about the skills and personality you need to climb because it's an high risk extreme
Mhm.
sport. So because if you like in other sport you can make a mistake and then you can come back again.
You
Uh,
shouldn't make a mistake while rock climbing.
exactly, here making a mistake means a lot more. So what do you think of like the skills and personality someone
Mhm.
has who does rock climbing?
Hmm. I think, I mean, you need self-confidence actually, or you need the confidence that you know what you're doing.
Mm,
So you have to know your gear, you have to know your skills,
mm,
and if you don't know something, you have to ask. You
mm,
should never be ashamed of asking questions then, because I don't know if you're somewhere on a rock 50 meters high, this is not the moment where you can ask questions or where you should realize, oh, actually, I'm so afraid of falling. Yeah,
mm,
um, then maybe it's a little late. I mean, that can happen, but I think self-confidence is very important here. And also again to not overestimate your abilities.
mhm,
Or also just if you have a bad day, um, you should just maybe not take the most dangerous route outdoors if you don't feel safe that day.
mhm,
Um, and at the same time, I think because you asked for like personality traits you need for sport climbing, I think somehow you have to love taking risks, or you
mhm,
have to love this thrill of danger, I would call it.
mm,
Um, it depends on the person, but I personally, I really like this feeling when I'm climbing outdoors, and I know that there's only the rope and my partner
mm,
who's here with me, but nothing else. There's only the rock and I.
mm,
Um, there's the weather. This that can change every minute.
mm,
Um, it's just stone in the end, so something could break, for example,
yeah.
just in my hands. So I think, yeah, sometimes somehow you have to love this thrill. And I think this is something very special about extreme sports.
Yeah,
Um,
have you noticed that amongst the people you know who does climbing as well? Like you guys are some similar wavelength that you guys are on because I think that you mentioned that you have to take the risk and you have to have that part of coming every time with that risk on.
mhm.
So,
I think with the climbing competition group, um, we all had this feeling of adventure and that
mm,
something will happen outdoors. And we loved it. We loved just, I don't know, doing outdoor trips together,
mhm,
sleeping somewhere outdoors and then climbing all day.
mhm,
Um, and I think we all had this adventure
mhm,
mindset. At the same time, you don't necessarily need it. I think there are also people only climbing indoors, or people that are very afraid of falling, but nevertheless they are climbing. And I think
mhm,
that's pretty cool actually.
mhm,
Um, but somehow I think there's something about falling that you probably like as a climber. Um, or something about the challenge. If not, you probably wouldn't do it, or you would just search for different sports.
mhm. Yeah. What other sport do you think is closest to this kind of? I mean, there's a lot of them. Uh, but also, let's see that you are taking a risk, but uh, if you're doing it outdoors, it's so much fun as well
Mhm.
because you're going to nice locations, you're in the nature, and on top of that, you're climbing. So, which sport do you think comes close, or any sport that you like?
All the
Like,
sports that you do outdoors actually. I think a lot of climbers love surfing,
mm,
because surfing is quite similar in some some aspects, I would say. Also skiing or snowboarding,
Mm.
um, because there's the environment that changes and you need
Yeah.
to react to it.
Yeah.
Um, and you probably enjoy being outdoors.
Yeah. But I think when you surf, if you fall, you have less chance of breaking something. That's why maybe the climbers like.
Yeah, but at the same time, when climbing, I also want to be safe somehow. I would never climb without a rope, for
Mm,
example. There are
mm,
professional or famous climbers like Alex Honnold, for example, who's climbing
yeah,
without a rope.
yeah,
I would never do this because don't want to risk my life.
mm,
So I think at the same time, there's some trust in the rope, trust in my partner that I'm not gonna die. And I think this is also very important.
mm, yeah, true. And what kind of like physical training do you do usually to be a rock climber? Because I'm assuming like you can't be too muscular because if you're too
Hmm.
heavy, you're gonna struggle with the endurance to climb. So what kind of
Yeah.
physical training that you did?
It's a mixture. So usually if or when I did lead climbing,
Mm,
you only do lead climbing twice a week, I would say. Um, to like really, really climb hard stuff, hard routes, to really climb the discipline you're doing
mm,
in the end in
mm,
competitions.
mm,
Um, and then you usually do power endurance training actually. So this means to like climb up a route, climb it down, climb it
mm.
up, climb it down.
Okay, okay.
To
Uh,
train power endurance. For
mm,
example, we did that a lot. Um, and then we used bouldering for learning new techniques.
mhm,
Um, we also did power training, like that was actually like gym. Um, but it's true that you can't be too muscular
mhm,
because then you're maybe too heavy.
mm,
Um, this is why actually climbing or in sport climbing there's quite a problem, I would say, with eating disorders
yeah.
because some people try to lose weight because then at first it's easier to get up the wall because you're not that heavy.
Mm,
um, so this is where sport psychologists are needed.
yeah.
um, yeah, and what else? We also did mental training actually. We did route mapping. So that means
Mhm,
you look at a climbing route and
mhm,
then you turn around, you like turn your back towards the route and you try to solve the route in your head and try to imagine yourself climbing
mm,
the route.
uh,
Um, and then you're gonna climb it and check whether you did it the way you thought you would do it
ah,
before.
okay.
And this is
Yeah.
how you learn how to solve problems and
Mhm.
how to climb in your head. That's pretty useful, actually.
Yeah, but it might be a very lengthy process, like to do that. It's not easy. Like it would take so much time and also so much mental capacity to do that properly. So
Yes.
you might have done it so many times. I feel if you want to see if the mental map that you did versus the actual thing that you did, like to compare it, you might have to do a
You're
lot of training for that.
you're very tired afterwards.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad this is actually the skill I'm very proud of, I think, because now I did this so many times that now I can just go in a climbing hall,
Hmm.
look at the route, and
Hmm.
I can like solve it in my head
Hmm.
already.
Yeah.
Um, and then already know how to climb it, and that's pretty cool actually. And it's
Yeah.
something you can train, but it's a lot of training.
Yeah. Okay. I really wanted to know one more thing from you. Is now we're already talking about like psychologist and the imagery that you did. Now, what goes through a mind of a rock climbers when you're not allowed to make mistake because that's the end of the competition, or like if you fall at some place and you have an injury or something like that. So what goes on the mind of someone who's climbing? So you need to be calm, I'm assuming, because you have to make so many decisions, but also you have to take care of like the height that you are on. your equipment. So there's so many different factors. What goes on like mentally?
I think you already mentioned a good point. You have to stay calm. It's not
Mm-hmm.
one of these type of sports where you have to get excited because
Mm-hmm.
then your hands will get sweaty and
Mm-hmm.
then you're
Oh yeah,
probably gonna
got that.
fall.
Yeah.
Um, I think the sometimes you're afraid of falling,
Mm-hmm.
um, and this shouldn't take too much space in your head, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I always try to just concentrate on what is like in front of me. So what is still coming? What do I still have to do? And not. I didn't look
Mm-hmm.
back, and I did look behind on what I did before, um, because I think this just makes you crazy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to really focus on you want to reach the top.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think there's this feeling, or for me at least, there's this feeling of freedom. Um, you
Mm-hmm.
get that you're
Mm-hmm.
like you're
Interesting.
just climbing, you're free, you're completely alone, you can do whatever you want, but you're gonna reach the top. I think this is uh, what is always going on in my head, but I think this is very personal. It really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Um,
No, but like usually, like I think because you also mentioned the high risk behavior,
mhm,
but also being calm. So because I'm assuming, like if you're someone who, because I don't do any sport like that. Like I do tennis, which is like more a bit safer, and
mhm,
it's also a bit royal. So nothing, no risk behaviors there. Uh, so when you already have that type of risk taking uh, mentality, but also you have to be calm now.
mhm.
So I think it's a bit too extremes, and then somehow you have to manage that as well.
Yeah, this is why I said you really have to know your skill level,
Mm.
um, because you have to be you have to know what you are able to do, but you
Yeah.
should never overestimate your abilities. And if you're
Mm.
especially outdoors, if you're too afraid or if something becomes dangerous, then just stop it.
Mm.
just just stop it. Go down again. Maybe try it later again.
Mm.
Um, yeah, but don't overestimate yourself, and at the
Mm.
same time believe in your abilities. And I think this is where self-confidence comes
Mhm.
in, but also this very realistic self-assessment that you really need in
Yeah.
these situations.
Yeah. And how did you figure it out? Was it a lot of experience that you had that you discovered all this, or were your coaches telling you about this, or did you have a psychologist telling you all this?
No, I didn't have a psychologist. I think it really came with the experience. And I had two experiences, two falls actually. One time, um, I was falling in a competition and it was pretty dangerous, um, because it was not the person belaying me. She did a mistake, and the fall was pretty dangerous, and I was pretty shocked afterwards.
Mhm.
That was the one experience, and the other experience was when somebody else fell down, and I was the person standing on the ground,
Ah.
um, and it got pretty dangerous for him. And I think after having experienced these
Mm.
kind of things in extreme sports, you have to ask yourself the question, okay, what can I do and what can I not do?
Mhm.
And I reflected on this a lot.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Mhm.
and then I realized what my abilities are and
Mhm.
what maybe also my weaknesses are.
Mhm. Yeah. Very, very important to have a balance of both, I feel, especially
Yeah.
in this. Nice. Okay. And I think last time you mentioned about your most favorite spot of climbing. Do you want to tell us more about that?
Um, yeah, of course. I have one favorite memory of rock climbing outdoors. I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years. It was a trip to Spain, to like the border of Spain to France. Um, and I was there with a climbing group of 5, 6 people, all very, very strong climbers. And we were sleeping in tents at a campsite, and we were climbing crazy, crazy routes
Mhm.
every day. But like in between the routes, we were just laying in the sun and jumping into the river when we
Oh,
like got too sweaty.
yeah.
And that was the perfect balance because in this region there, the the climbing routes are crazy. They are very, very heavy, so there's very, very heavily graded stuff to climb there.
Mhm.
Um, Everything is very well secured.
Mhm.
You have to bring a lot of gear. Um, and it's very, very sunny. It was actually the temperatures were very high. I think we had like 35 degrees or something, and we're climbing in the sun. Um,
Uh,
and yeah, and every 3 minutes we just jumped into the water and then went back to climbing. Um, and I think this is like my core emotion that is associated with climbing. Is
mhm.
this just chill vibe, this great community? Everyone supports each other,
Mhm.
even at competitions. Uh, so yeah, I think this is in fact what climbing represents for me.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that. We are almost at the end, and we do a game. I call it the rapid fire round. So I'm going to ask you questions, and you have to
Can I
quickly.
win this game?
Well, last time you can do better.
Okay, let's
No,
go.
no, you did well the last time. Okay, so yeah, I'll ask you questions. Quickly answer them, but you can take your time if you wanna describe a bit more about it. Take your
Okay,
time, but the answer should be quick. Okay.
okay, let's go.
Favorite athlete.
Yanya Garnbret. She
Uh,
for for explanation, she's oh, the most famous, the most successful sports climber in the world, and she's a woman.
oh,
Um,
okay. Nice. Can you tell me a name? I'm gonna write it down.
Yanya Garnbret. Start a little Google search. I think that could be interesting for a
Uh,
lot of people.
okay, I got her first name. I'm gonna put Yangya and Climber. I think.
Yes, and you're
Okay.
gonna find her. Gonna
Okay.
find her immediately.
And, most adventurous thing you have done besides climbing.
um, Jump in the water without knowing whether there were rocks in the water or not.
Oh,
That was
where
on a
were?
climbing trip actually, but it was not related to climbing.
Okay, yeah. Um, is it fear of heights or fear of falling?
Fear of falling.
Fear of falling. Uh, indoor climbing or outdoor climbing?
Outdoor.
Outdoor. Okay. Uh, if not a climber, what would you be?
Ah. um, Too difficult. Too difficult. A psychologist.
Hmm. Okay. One myth about rock climbing.
That it's only about power.
Mhm. Yes. Uh, biggest lesson climbing has taught you?
Know your limits.
Grip strength or endurance?
Grip strength, of course.
Yeah. Most underrated climbing gear.
Mm. A chalk bag, I would say. Lots of people carry a chalk bag with them, but some
Mm-hmm.
also use liquid chalk. Um,
Mm-hmm.
don't use liquid chalk if you're a climber. Yes, it's just important if your hands get too sweaty. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot it once in a competition, which killed me.
Record a climb or live in the moment?
Live in the moment.
Mm. What's your pre-climb ritual?
I listened to a song called My Face. It's a reggae song and it calms me down.
Mm. Uh, Favorite post climb meal?
Sushi.
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 I heard sushi. Yes. Uh, who inspires you the most? Doesn't have to be athlete. Could be anyone in the world.
Um, yeah, it's someone you won't know, but it's a woman I've worked with and I've also lived with in Brussels. I lived in Brussels for 1 year.
Mhm.
Um, and I think she was very, very strong. She always cared about others, but at the same time, um, yeah, did everything for the others and for herself at the same time. And I think that was pretty strong.
Mm. If you could climb anywhere in the world tomorrow, where and why? Okay, I'm gonna take the Granada hike, the Granada climb that you did, and
Hmm.
maybe somewhere else that you would want to go, and why?
Um, in the south of France, there are very beautiful rock climbing areas, and I would like to go there again. I've been there already once, but actually not really because of climbing reasons, but just because I love the sun and it's sunny in France,
Yeah.
and I love speaking French.
Oh,
So
nice. You speak French? I didn't know that.
yes, yes. As
Oh,
I lived in Brussels, I've also worked with French speaking people.
nice. Good to know. Okay, so that was the end. You did very well. Guys,
Okay,
guys, let us know in the comment section how you did. Rate that out of 1 out of 10, and please be
please
generous.
write something positive. I want a 10. A 9 is
uh,
also all right.
uh, yeah, it's more realistic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Imogen, thank you so much for coming again, and it was really fun to talk with you. And I hope the audience enjoyed this podcast as well. Them listening to you. So, Imogen, if you want to tell people where they can find you, if they like your story, if they want to get in touch with you. Also, you're a sports psychologist, or
Mhm.
well, you will be a sports psychologist soon. So you might want to tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm doing my master's in sport and exercise psychology at the moment. So I hope to be a sports psychologist for climbers in the future. And in case you just want to reach out to me, just check my LinkedIn. I think this is the most easiest way. Um, yeah, maybe Sahil, you can put it in the description of the
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
of the video.
Yes,
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. It's nice. Always, if I have interesting guests, I it makes my job so much easier. Like I don't have to do a lot of talking. It's it's very easy in that way. And guys, please again, I said it in the end. Said it in the start. I'm gonna say it again in the end. Please like, share, and subscribe if you were with us till now. Please, please. I think we deserve we deserve that like and the subscribe. And I hope you had a great time listening to this podcast. And till next time, bye.
Bye.